The Maple Leafs, let alone the Stanley Cup, have not made it to the conference finals since 2002, when this young man was the captain.
Young, thanks.
That's 24 years, and it's a 24 long years. And quite honestly, that's not good enough. And we understand Leafs Nation's frustration. And that is why, when during this comprehensive search, when we identified an opportunity to go in a different direction and bring two stellar complementary hockey minds together in John and Mats, we jumped on it. And then during the process, we realized that these two gentlemen had a long-standing relationship dating back to 2012 when they first met in the Memorial Cup in London. They have kept in touch, but more importantly, the respect they had for each other and the way they talked about each other was palpable during the entire process. And there is no question that we believe this tandem will co-orchestrate a vision that aligns the organization from ownership right through to the dressing room.
I'm extremely proud and excited to be sitting here today. Thanks to the MLSE board, Keith Pelley, and for all of you to come in here. I'm very emotionally connected to the team, to the city. It's been my home for 13 years, 11 years as a captain. And I've known John for a long time, and I think we have the same vision of what a winning team looks like. And I think that we touched on it, we're going to complement each other perfectly. 18 years playing in the National Hockey League, on the international stage, following the Toronto Maple Leafs the last 10 years very closely on the international level, prospects. I'm really looking forward to this challenge, and the experience, I think, for the MLSE and Keith Pelley too, and we have some great examples here, to earlier generations of Toronto Maple Leafs, to bring that in to the mix as a complement to John. There's been things in the past that's done really well for the Toronto Maple Leafs, and there are things that we should learn from that's maybe been mistakes, and that's in regards to the locker room management and so forth. And I think that experience I hope to contribute with and represent other generations of players like Wendell sitting here, Darcy and Doug. And I'm very proud to have a chance to represent earlier generations of Toronto Maple Leaf players. So I'm really looking forward to this, and to the Toronto fan base, the greatest fan base in the world. This is the hockey capital of the world. We're going to do everything we can to get a winning team here and make you guys proud.
Being the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs carries an enormous obligation to the team, the community, the alumni, our players, our partners, and the millions of fans across the world. I don't say that in an abstract way. I've witnessed it, I've lived it since I was a kid. I grew up about 45 minutes from here in Jordan Station. My dad took me to games at the Maple Leaf Gardens, where I fell in love with the game. I sat in the stands at the Air Canada Centre and rooted for number 13, our captain. Mats, it'll be an honor to work with you. I understand precisely how much this organization matters to the city and our country. I understand the weight of our long wait. To Leafs Nation, this is your team. I share your passion for hockey, for this team, and for its history. That said, I'm not here to romanticize this opportunity. I'm here to build something that delivers. There's no avoiding the realities of the challenges ahead. This is one of the most coveted roles in sports, and also one of the most demanding. You don't meet a challenge like this by chasing moments. You meet it by building an organization that consistently creates them. Great teams beat talented teams, but great organizations beat great teams. That's the standard we must meet at every level of the organization. I'm a realist, so I want to address an element of my past up front. I understand there'll be lots of questions about my path, about my time away from the game, and about my time in Arizona. That experience shaped me. It required discipline, creativity, and resilience. I've made decisions I'm proud of, and I've also made mistakes that I've learned from. I'm human. I own all of it, and I'm better because of it. I would also say this, the game has evolved since I left the Coyotes. I view that as a shift as a positive. I didn't live off the grid. I stayed obsessed with the game, our league, the role of process, of data, of integrated decision making. These are no longer emerging ideas. They're essential to how elite NHL organizations operate.
Steve Simmons, Toronto Sun, for Keith. You talk about the due diligence that you did on John prior to hiring him and now hiring him. In the past, say 3 to 4 days, I have been in contact with about 20 people who work in the National Hockey League, many of whom are prominent names that we would all know. And of the 20 people I spoke to, one was supportive of John's hiring, and the other 19 thought it was a sham, to be perfectly honest. Words were used like con artist, liar, salesman. How did you come to a different conclusion than I was able to come to in a very short time?
I must have talked to different people.
That's it? Because I'm telling you, the hockey world today is astounded by this announcement.
Okay.
And your response to that?
Is we've conducted due diligence, and it was deep due diligence. It was a thorough process, and I'm quite happy with where we've landed. The way that it'll work is John is the general manager of hockey operations, and I think these two will work collaboratively together on everything. Big decisions will obviously be collective, but at the end of the day, on a day-to-day business, John is the head of, is the general manager of hockey operations, and Mats has a role within hockey operations, but it will be something that will completely be collaborative throughout the entire process.
I think it's upon us to go and collect information and understand that better. I think the optimistic, hopeful side is that I really do believe that this team has a lot of latent upside. I think a lot of the players underperformed. I think there's lots of opportunity to get in there and find ways to do a better job with the internal group. Having said that, I think it's reality that we're going to have to make some changes and we're going to have to fill some holes, and there's some fundamental ways in which we're going to have to change the team.